Hi there, this is Daniel with End Time Country Living, and in this video I want to share with you some new information that I have discovered about how to calculate the probability of ignition, or PIG, P-I-G, for those that are involved in wildfires or areas where there may be embers coming in to around your home, or wanting to know how what the fire danger is. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you real quick. So I was able to do a bunch of research and found some tables and graphs, which I'll show you here on the screen. But so as far as the calculation, as far as when embers hit the ground, the probability of them actually starting a fire is based on the temperature, that's the air temperature, and also the humidity. And so if you know those two pieces of information, you can gauge what the moisture content of grasses or leaves or things like that will be absorbing and releasing moisture based off the environmental humidity. And so you can buy devices that will do this that are $200 or $300 or more, but as long as you have the basic information of, hey, what's the relative humidity in your area and also what's the outside temperature, you can do your own calculations and you don't have to buy anything. And so this may be useful to you. If it's just occasionally every few years you may run into a situation where you kind of want to know the fire danger out, and just the marker on the signs doesn't really give you a good estimate, and if you're not out all the time having to check those or call in and all stuff, but it's nice to be able to just do a calculation and say, oh, okay, well, it's 60%, well, that's not too bad, or we're down to 30%, no problem. So So the first idea is, it's well, how do you know what your humidity is? Well, you can get a humidity gauge. A good one's going to be expensive. The ones that are like $4 or $5 aren't worth a whole lot. They can give you kind of an idea, but if you can find somebody in your area that has a weather station that you can connect up with. So one of the things that I've done, I'll show you. So I have a Kestrel Met app that I was able to download, and when I open that up, you can add in different areas, so or different weather stations that are available in your area. So I was able to find one here in Hawley, and so they're just a couple miles away, so that gives me all the information I need. They're broadcasting, they're hooked up to the internet, and so I can get their weather information on there. So that gives me a good idea of what, especially humidity. Temperature, I can have my own thermometers, that's not a problem there, but this gives me a good idea, an accurate reading of humidity in our area here. So see, we're at 38% humidity, so I can use that plus the air temperature, which we are sitting at, scrolling up the top, so we're at 85 degrees, so we can use those two pieces of information to do a calculation of the percent of basically the fire danger here. So I put a graphic together that I can use on my phone, or if and you don't even need a calculator to do this. This is basically just graphs, so I put it in my Photos app here. So there's two graphs you need. One is to figure out what is the moisture content of the fuel, or the grass leaves, needles, whatever is on the ground. Logs are going to, big sticks, they're going to release moisture and absorb at a different level, so they're not really a good gauge, and those aren't going to light on fire the fastest anyway. So this is just mainly for light material. So we have a graph here. It's the dry bulb temperature, and that refers to just the air temperature that's out there. And then we have relative humidity, so we can get that from our humidity in the area here. And so we go down our graph here, and we can find our temperature range. So if we're at 85, that means that it's going to be 70 to 89 degrees. And then we go over on our graph till we find the humidity. So that was, I believe, let's go look at it again. So 43% right now. So switch back over, go for 40 to 44. Go down there so we get a rating of 6. Okay, so 6% should be about the humidity, not the humidity, but the moisture content of the grass, leaves, fuel that's on the ground there that might ignite. Okay, so then we go to our second graph below that, and that is showing us on the side there's different sections, and that shows how much shading there is. So if it's in the shade or direct sun, we'll determine, or adjust how much fire danger there is. So, just like you go outside and you're in the bright sun, it's going to feel a lot hotter than if you're in the shade. So anyway, and also the moisture chance of, well, I don't know if it's the moisture. No, it's not necessarily going to affect the moisture content. I suppose it could, but that's not part of the calculation, since we already determined the moisture content approximately of the fuel in the first step. So anyway, there's like 0 to 10% shading, and 10 to 50, 60 to 90, and 100% shading. So it gives you an idea. You can look in your area, you can do like 10 to 50% or something like that if it's kind of a mixed area, or if it's right out in the sun, then you do the top one. So then you'd go over and look at the dB temperature. That's dB standing for dry bulb, as in the air temperature. So then you find your temperature range. So there's one that's for 80 to 89, and so then we move over till we find the 1 hour moisture content. So that would be the one we figured out, which is about 6%. So you find 6 and you go down until you meet in the middle. And so that says 60. So we're at 60%. That is the probability of ignition. So there's basically a 50-50 chance, 60 obviously, 60-40. more than half of a chance, that's going to ignite. So you could say 10 embers coming in and hitting the ground, 6 of them are going to ignite a fire where the others are not. So anyway, that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. So that was what we call a PIG, or probability of ignition. And so that's, a little bit more of a complex rating that you don't, you would have to have a device such as a Kestrel, like a 33 or a 3500 FW, which would be a device that it would tell you what that is, do the calculation for you. But that's, the 3300 is like $200 at least. And then there's a little higher version of it. I think the 3500, that's like $400. So it's a lot to just spend for something that isn't, super important. It's not going to save your life just by knowing the probability of ignition. So, but it's, nice to know if you're out there doing work, or you need to use some machinery out there, and hey, is it what's the fire danger right now? Or, 3 hours from now, you check it, you want to check it again and say, oh, well, it's up past this point, let's shut down and let's not do anything that would cause, a fire or something like that. So anyway, it's kind of nice to know. Anyway, that's one way that you can do a calculation. So if you got, around 40% humidity, somewhere in that range, and it's over 80 degrees, then you're in that 60% range. So anyway, I thought that was kind of neat to be able to just, for free, figure this out here. So I'd love to make like an app, web app. I looked to see if there's a web app available, but there doesn't seem to be. So it's hiding somewhere, but I couldn't find a way to just punch in the numbers and have it do it for you. But the math is there, so I can definitely build something like that. But I don't know if it's really, you know, a good idea. So let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Maybe I could build a little web app to punch in some numbers and do the calculation. But this isn't bad, you know, being able to figure it out within, you know, 4 or 5 minutes. You could figure out what it is, and then you're off doing what you need to do. So it's not terribly hard. So, all right, hope that was useful for you and interesting. I hope you're staying safe wherever you're at. Hope you don't have any wildfires nearby. We're already starting to get some smoke in the area here, but I don't know, we're probably, I don't know, 10 miles, 20, I don't know. We got a few fires, but they're nowhere. I don't think they'll ever make it this direction. They're way too far away. And they're only, you know, maybe 1,000 acres on one, or 1,200 or something. So, but anyway, we're starting to get a little bit of smoke just because of the direction of the wind. And so that's the wind direction, also something to pay attention to, because that will tell you, you know, hey, is the fire coming your direction, or is it going away from you? That kind of stuff too. So the Watch Duty app is real nice for that. So that tells you which, there's a feature on there under layers, which will tell you the wind direction, and they have little indicators so you don't get confused about northeast, south, or west, or which direction is it coming from. So if it's a wind direction, it's going to be like an east wind will be coming from the east and going to the west. But sometimes that's a little bit hard to remember, so it's nice to have a little visual, and it changes, you know, it isn't, this shows you all over the whole map which direction the wind is going, because it's going to change. So I'm feeling actually a west wind, west south wind, or southwest wind a little bit right now coming my direction here. And if I look on the map, it'd be interesting to see if it is actually. So, yep, it's accurate. So it's showing the same thing, same direction coming from the west. So it's kind of a southwest wind. Well, there's little vector lines going in there on the map. You probably can't see it, but anyway. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Also, the Watch Duty app is a real nice one for just seeing where the fires are, how big they are, percent of containment, things like that. So, all right, God bless. See you on the next video.